to speak. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We have a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cape May. We are here in the Cape May City Hall Auditorium. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. It is now 3 minutes past 3 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Under the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May County Herald and the Press of Atlantic City, and a copy of the agenda was delivered to each member of City Council, posted on the city website and City Hall Bulletin Board. Notice is hereby provided that Cape May City Council meetings are audio recorded and video streamed live. Live video streams are posted to the Cape May City website. City of Cape May is not responsible if audio recording or live video streaming of a meeting is unavailable. Roll call. Councilmember Baldwin?
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Here.
Deputy Mayor McDade?
Here.
Councilmember Meyer?
Here.
Mayor Mullock?
Here.
City Solicitor Gillen Schwartz?
Here.
City Manager Dietrich?
Here.
Deputy Manager Riggs?
Here.
Deputy Clerk Turner?
Here.
And Council, I do believe we have two additions this evening, if you'd like me to go over those. We have Resolution 26106, 2026, a resolution of award for bid 26-09, fiscal year 2026, New Jersey Water Bank, various sanitary sewer and water main improvements, and 26206, 2026, resolution authorizing grant application and execution of a grant agreement with the State of New Jersey Department of Environmental Protections for SRF Technical Assistance and Design Grant for the lead service line replacement project. If we have a motion to add those to the regular agenda.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
All right. On to updates in old business, Council.
Any updates or old business, City Manager?
Yes, thank you. First, we had an employee We had an employee earlier this month reach their 40-year mark with the city. So I'd like to recognize that Lenny Benstead from the Department of Public Works. I think he started as a lifeguard. So that's probably how he got so many years, but he's just a longstanding great employee that's had a lot of dedication for the city, and just would want to just recognize him for 40 years of service for the city. It's just a great accomplishment to meet that.
Name is?
Lenny Benstead.
Okay, thank you.
Great job, Lenny, really.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I don't see Chief Fashaw here. So myself, Chief Fashaw, Captain Walker, and Lieutenant Christinger went up earlier this week and met in front of the police chief's state accreditation board. And I'm happy to announce that they voted unanimously to accept and accredit our police department. I think we have been unaccredited for probably 6 or 7 years, I think, maybe 8 years. That was one of my missions when I became city manager. When I realized that we were not accredited, I felt that it was very important to have an accredited police department, and making sure, not that I didn't think that they weren't following all the policies and procedures, but if something did happen, to have that knowledge that we are following all the most up-to-date policies and procedures with our police department, and they are. And so we got recognized by that. We'll be scheduling possibly a presentation later in August. They'll come down and present the city with a plaque for that acknowledgement.
A lot of hard work went into that, so
It took about a year and a half to update the volumes of different policies. It's truly amazing when you look at the number of policies and updates that come down from the Attorney General's office on. I can't even imagine all the different things that they have to deal with, but it is a large volume of work that all of our officers have to be cognizant of when they're out there on their daily job every day. I did have a clarification. So we are going out to bid for the ADA project at the tennis club. I just want to, we did receive 2 grants from the DCA for small cities grants, and that will be essentially that will be extending the sidewalks from Kiwanis Park up into the tennis club. One path will take you up like kind of between the courts up to their clubhouse. And then the sidewalk will continue up through the parking lot, all the way up through the physics estate and continue all the way up to Washington Street. So we will have a full ADA access from Washington Street to the physics estate, through the tennis club and down to Kiwanis Park. So that project is getting finally ready to go out to bid. And just to also clarify, resolution number 240, that's a DOT application for Ocean Street. We're looking to extend, I'll say, the streetscape, the same kind of streetscape style that we did on Franklin Street. We're looking to extend that down Ocean Street from Washington Street and head towards Beach Avenue. I don't think that grant will probably get us there, but we may have to do it in a couple years phases. But that was the intent, is to kind of bring that same streetscape style down Ocean Street to Beach Avenue. And that's all I
Oh,
had.
would that extend down towards the mall? Would you?
So I think it's already been done between Washington and Lafayette. There's already like brick gutters and sidewalks and the
Right.
brick crosswalks. So that's what we're looking to, to kind of, we'll send the brick gutters. Like right now, it has broken concrete gutter in different places. So we'll replace the concrete gutter with brick, and then have the brick crosswalks at Corgi and Columbia, and
I
then
meant
down
from
at,
Washington down to Columbia. Are you intending to go starting at that direction?
we'll go from Washington and then head
And
towards
the beach?
head
Okay.
towards
Thank
the
you.
beach.
I was just trying to get a.
Yes, that's where, we'll start the phasing in from Washington and go towards Corgi, and then, Hughes, and then Columbia. That's all I had for updates.
Great. Thank you, City Manager. City Solicitor, any updates or old business?
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
City Council, any updates or old business? No? Okay, on to Employee of the Quarter.
So we did have two listed on the agenda. Unfortunately, Duran Hemingway was unable to attend from the prior time. So Duran Hemingway, if you don't know, she's been here for over 20 years. She is essentially the chief's right hand, arm, maybe the left leg, and everything. So everything that helps, she kind of helps make sure that those command staff moves in a positive forward direction, and she kind of just keeps that office humming and moving, and she's just a great person. She is also one of the leaders and coordinators of the Christmas wrapping for presents, and it's just amazing how much organization that she can bring, and how much, I think, joy that she brings to the children, not just in Cape May City, but I'll say that the entire lower half of Cape May County, that she now helps coordinate presents out during the season. So we recognized her. And then I do believe we have Ian Kelly here, so I'm going to ask Ian to come on up here. You get to be embarrassed and stand next to me while I read about you. Here you go. You get to hold that while I talk to you. So Ian's been working for Public Works Department since 2019. I started out in the Buildings and Grounds Department, and he's really just recently, been transferred to Traffic Maintenance, where really he has just really stepped up his game. I'll say the senior person in Traffic Maintenance over the last couple of months has been out on paternity leave, and Ian has just really stepped up and really worked very hard to make sure all our signs are updated, learned a lot of information about, because we do make all of our signs in-house, learning the computer program to print out and make new signs, being out there to paint the different site triangles and different stuff like that. So Ian has just really taken that job, and he's always has a really great positive attitude. Every time you see him out there, he's always got that smile on, and he's always out there willing to work. In his spare time, he enjoys spending time with his family, especially his two daughters, his dog, and he loves to be out on the water. So I just want to congratulate Ian and recognize him. So thank you. There you go.
So while they're taking the picture, I'll just add that we kind of, City Manager Dietrich and I kind of looked at the Employee of the Year or the Employee of the Month program that we have been doing, and tried to
Good job, Ian.
reinvigorate it a little bit, get some different people involved that were not on the committee, and tried to really get them more involved and switch things up. So that's why you'll start to see it employee of the quarter versus employee of the month, and the committee was just getting caught up on the first and the second. So that's the update on that.
Thank you. Ian, congratulations. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. All right, on to presentations. We have a presentation from Atlantic City Electric Energy Savings Program, including Ronnie Town. Welcome, Ronnie.
Good afternoon. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to talk about how people can save on their energy bills. We hear it every day, and we are very concerned about the billing and how people need to learn to conserve, and we're going to learn how to control costs ourselves. So we just wanted to present today our commercial side and also talk a little bit about the residential side on how people can save. So anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Ronnie Town. I'm External Affairs Manager with Atlantic City Electric, and I've been with the company 42 years and been down here in Cape May County for 39 years. So I do understand people's concerns, and we're very happy to be able to present today. So we have Frank Nicosia, who will be presenting. He's the principal program manager for energy efficiency. And I'm going to stay afterwards. So if anybody wants to talk about the residential side, there is some programs out there like free energy assessment that you can get done at your home, and some rebates are available. So thank you for the opportunity. Frank?
Welcome, Frank. Thanks for coming. Wherever you're more comfortable, if you'd like to sit here, that's great. If you could just turn on there's a button on that. There you go.
And you can pick it up if you could please just speak right into the microphone. It can move, okay? Nice and close. Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us. Again, as Ronnie shared, Frank Nicosia, I'm principal for commercial industrial energy efficiency programs in Atlantic City Electric. I'm going to speak briefly at the end about our residential programs as well. So I'll start by just simply acknowledging, as Ronnie shared, right? We certainly appreciate and understand the everyday issues and cost challenges customers face. Your commercial customers certainly are facing aging infrastructure, equipment that's beyond useful life. Certainly, we've heard in the news the substantial increase in utility expense, predominantly related to power. Increasing equipment repair costs, need to reinvest for business growth, remaining relevant. So these are all competing needs they have and decisions they need to make. And just something interesting I want to point out and to consider when you think about the life cycle cost of a building, a facility, whether it's here with the city or your stakeholders that own and operate businesses here in the community. Over a 40-year life cycle, operations is the predominant cost of a building. And if you peel that back further, utilities, meaning energy, natural gas, sewer, water, et cetera, is roughly 42% of that operations cost. So it does impact the total cost of ownership, and we want to speak briefly about how we can help customers impact that cost. A little bit about how these programs made it here. This started with the New Jersey Clean Energy Act, formed into law by act with our former governor. It was initiated with all member utilities in 2021. It remains today as Triennium 2, which expires June 30th, 2027. And Governor Sherrill and her administration are previously working on a new triennium. So these programs will continue to be in place beyond June 30th, 2027. Just a snapshot of the scale of these programs and what we've brought to commercial industrial customers to give you an appreciation, right? Just south of 2,000 projects. We've paid out almost $64 million in incentives to customers. It's generated over 108 million kilowatt hours, which is the equivalent of powering over 13,000 homes annually. And I also want to point out, right, our emphasis on communities that are challenged with overburdened communities, right? We are focused on driving and helping those constituents and stakeholders with over 40% participation in those communities where businesses reside. So a little bit about our commercial industrial portfolio. It is very wide and deep, I'll say. It can be very overwhelming for customers. That's why I'm here. I've got a team of 30 people behind me to help our customers understand which program is right for them. It extends from equipment upgrades to optimizing existing equipment and opportunities to learn. Customers can choose to participate in one or all of these areas to drive down energy costs by as much as 25% annually. And if first cost is still a challenge beyond the incentive that offsets the first cost, we also offer 0% financing up to a 5-year term. We also have an application on our website customers can sign up for at no cost, Business Energy Manager, that helps them understand with more transparency in how they're using their energy and ways to reduce. Equipment that's included, think about it this way, anything behind the meter that's consuming electricity, right? Lighting, HVAC, heating and cooling systems, commercial kitchen equipment, motors, and temperature and building automation and control systems. Just an update here for our public contracting entities, such as the City of Cape May. We recently received a directive from the New Jersey BPU that for K-12 public schools, county government and community colleges, local townships and municipalities now have access to this direct install for public sector. It's called Closed Network. That allows public contracting entities access to the direct install program without competitively bidding the work. Direct install is set up for small businesses to medium-sized businesses to do comprehensive energy retrofits. And it had been in conflict with DCA for public contracting bid laws. So that's been addressed. We now have, Atlantic City Electric now has an approved tariff to execute this closed network program. So the city has additional buildings, facilities they would like addressed. You can pursue this under this direct install for public sector closed network and really get what you want, not necessarily going through a long, costly, resource-constrained competitive bid process. I do want to point out and congratulate the city, right, for past participation in our programs. The city has participated in 2 of our programs, prescriptive program where extensive lighting upgrades were done at the Canning House Lane that generated over 86,000 kilowatt hours of savings and over a $22,000 incentive, right? Which paid for almost 100% of the project. That's pretty amazing. And 2, the direct install program. This was done at the Convention Hall. Total project cost of just north of $850,000. We incentivized 75% of that. And that's quite typical with our direct install programs. On average, we're incentivizing roughly 70% of the total project cost. Very robust.
I don't know why we didn't negotiate that $231 to get that 100%. We'll have to work on that next time.
Well, we're looking forward to doing more. So, Mr. Mayor, we certainly will look forward to doing more. And I know Eric's going to speak to some very good work he's doing currently with the city on one of our programs. And I'm not going to steal his thunder. He's done some magnificent work with the virtual commissioning. I'll close by sharing a few thoughts, or I should say comments, on a residential program. I know we've got some residential customers in here as stakeholders today, and I'm sure council and mayor, you're a residential customer as well, right? So look, we've got a wide range of residential programs available, whether it's you're replacing appliances, refrigerators, dishwashers, right? We can not only give you an incentive for recycling those, we have incentives for replacing it with Energy Star equipment, right? And two, if you're interested in a more comprehensive approach to your home or residence, we have what's called our whole home assessment. That's done by a third-party contractor. They will come into your home and do an entire assessment of your home, your heating, your cooling, your lighting, et cetera, and provide recommendations and opportunities that you can pursue with Atlantic City Electric. The Home Weatherization Program is a program focused on disadvantaged customers. There's a QR code up there for customers to learn more on how they can qualify for that as well. This is more information on the 0% financing. We do this through a third party. We do not do the financing on Atlantic City Electric's bill. Other member utilities in New Jersey do offer that. We do not. It's through a third party. We buy down the interest to 0%, okay, for qualified customers. This is our contact information for commercial and industrial. I'm here. I'll stay with Ronnie. If anyone should have any additional questions, please reach out for additional information. Thank you again for having us.
Thank you very much, Frank. That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for being here, and we appreciate you staying behind. We'll try not to be too long for you. Okay, on to ordinances for introduction. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I saw energy savings and I thought, okay. So yeah, go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry. No problem. Eric and Rich, welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
So it's going to be hard to follow Frank from ACE. So we received an email from Atlantic City Electric probably back mid-April that something the city manager forwarded over to me to take a little cruise through. And so we put together just a small savings of what we put in place for the month of May for our three buildings, Cape May Convention Center, the Community Center, and City Hall. So what we're here today is the Power Takeoff is one of the programs for AC Electric for commercial accounts. So what is Power Takeoff? Is an energy management software company that partners with utilities like Atlantic City Electric. And this is a free service for commercial accounts. So getting into the start of it is they work alongside of us with the smart meters, tell us different set points. So that's where Rich came into place with setting certain set points in the buildings when they're not occupied to have energy savings. So we'll go into the first building, which is Cape May Convention Center. So this is the month of May. The left side of the bar graph is last year's energy. The right-hand side is this year. So in all, we saved just for the month of May, a little under $1,100 for the month of May's electric bill. If it continues to trend the way we're thinking, we can have an estimated savings about $12,000 for the year of energy.
HVAC system.
That's the HVAC system that they showed on the direct, yes, that we've been working on for the past 2 years. So yes, that has a big factor to do with it. The other factor is, like I said, now that we have access to the controls in the system, we set our own set points. So with the help of AC Electric telling us what set points we should put at, and it runs as a program. So, 7 o'clock in the morning, it comes on, it kicks on to cool off before everybody gets in. When everybody leaves, it goes back to a unoccupied set point. So for the month of May, we actually dropped the consumption down almost 10%. Next building we get into is City Hall. So again, left-hand side is last year's, right-hand side is this year. We lowered City Hall's electric bill about $225 for the month of May, with the consumption rate dropping down 14%. Our biggest savings is the community center. We knocked that down $283, and we got a consumption savings of 41%. So we're almost at half of what we paid last year versus this year. And the temperature's all been the same. I think this year we actually have 1 degree difference in the month of May versus last year. So these are from what Winston from Atlantic City Electric. These are an actual savings of what we have. So with this kind of work that, moving in, Rich and myself, now going to probably pass the buck over to Rich and let him run with Winston with the rest of our buildings in town.
Yeah, I was
To
gonna
see what
say,
we
is
see
that
what
your
we got.
plan, Rich? Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So that's
Do you have a schedule or an idea what
No.
buildings you'll be doing yet next? No, you're fine. You're good.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
so.
No, we haven't had a chance to discuss it.
Uh-huh.
Some buildings probably be a bigger challenge than others,
Mhm.
like say the DPW complex.
Right,
That's going to be a big challenge.
okay,
The other buildings are relatively straightforward.
okay.
So it's just simple of getting there and changing it.
Okay.
These 3 buildings that we picked were one of the easiest to do because we have control systems in place.
All right.
So then it's just a matter of just spending the time going over the scheduling
Mm-hmm,
and coordinating with the staff so they can make adjustments during the major events at Convention
Mhm.
Hall
yeah,
or even the community center.
right.
So like if we go back to the convention center, I mean, I believe Tuesday to Friday, I think that was Jazz Fest. So we were actually kind of lower than what we were last year for Jazz Fest. So any questions, comments?
The
Yeah,
one
that's
question I do
excellent.
have, though, this new program, does it take into account the the outside
Yes.
temperature?
That's what, and on the bottom, it's hard to see on the bottom right-hand side, the difference, I think was 1 degree. I think,
Because you're looking at degree temperatures, which are going to fluctuate from
yes.
year to year.
I think last May was 58 degrees, this May was 59, was that?
Okay, so it was pretty
Pretty close.
close.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't see that, so
And
thank you.
For each of these buildings, each computer program has access to the outside air temperature at all times. So it knows when to activate boilers and when to back off, just so the differential is not too much. Because Convention Hall is a pretty complex system.
Mm-hmm.
So we need all that information. That's why it took so long to get everything up and running.
That's great. Maybe lifeguard headquarters.
Yeah, so we got a couple. I was thinking fire department, lifeguard headquarters,
Yep.
maybe beach tag office,
Yep.
and then kind of move from there. Like Rich said, I think DPW and the water desal plant's going to be a little bit of a
You guys
tricky one
always
because
do
there's
such a great job.
it's going to be a little tricky one because there's multiple meters back there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think firehouses is plain simple.
Yep. That's
And
great.
so most like I said, we'll probably jump onto firehouse, lifeguard, beach patrol headquarters, and go from there.
And that way you'll be all teed up for when the police station opens up.
Correct. And then we'll hope we'll be back at the end of the year and kind of show where we're at between all the buildings that we've been doing for the past 6 months to show savings.
That's great.
Well, the police station, once that's completed, should be relative, because I looked through all the plans, and they have the exact same systems going in for controls and everything
Okay.
like that.
That's
So
great to hear.
Yep.
that'll just be, and the exterior access, so I don't have to get signed in to the control room.
So that's all we got.
Okay. Great. Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great work. Okay, so we're on to ordinances for introduction.
Thank you. Good night. Yes, we have 605-2026, ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Cape May City Code regarding metered parking.
Oh.
And
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
One other thing, Eric, just while you're here, because I know you're running out. Is Boardwalk the promenade painting happening? So, so just so we can announce that, go ahead.
It's tentatively scheduled. Obviously, I don't know if the material is, if everybody's out at the end of Beach Avenue and at Madison, if the material's been delivered out there, when you see the big tubs, it'll start that next day. So if it's gotten moved out there, I didn't get a chance to get out there this afternoon or get confirmation, but tentatively it's supposed to start tomorrow morning.
That's the seal coat for the new asphalt on the promenade, which,
I did receive a phone call at the end of the day to drop the barricades off down there. So I'm
Okay.
assuming between now and tomorrow.
Great.
They should be coming in. So they did call this afternoon to drop off the barricades for the
Great.
the spots to put the material at. So I'm assuming the material should be showing up sometime today
perfect.
or tomorrow. On my way out, I'll drive by and take a look, and I'll shoot a text message to either the deputy city manager or the city manager.
And do you think it'll be done by the weekend, or what do you think?
So
It's a question.
they'll be starting at the Cove and working their way east. No, they will most likely not be able to finish in 3 days, but most likely what will happen is, because they're going to kind of leave spots for people to cross across the promenade at different spots, as they work down, they're probably going to have to go back in, and as the one spot cures, go back and get, I'll say, those little stripe spots. So I think there's going to be, I think they're going to have to maybe one a day next week
Okay,
to kind of finish it up.
that's great.
I mean,
Good.
now, if they have perfect weather and everything cooperates out there in the field, maybe, but that's if everything goes
Yeah.
perfect.
And again, just so everyone knows what we're talking about, that's a seal coat that goes over the asphalt that has a major drop in temperature, which obviously we know it can get very hot this time of year. So thank you.
Some spots will be 20-degree difference
Right.
from the last time we did it.
Yeah, we did, we shot.
Yep.
Yeah. And that also, not only the temperature drop, but it's a better seal coat. We had to wait, what was it, Paul, 30 days before even being able to
Right.
do this. That's the reason for the timing. So, yeah. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No worries. So yeah, we have an ordinance for introduction, 605-2026, ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Cape May City Code regarding metered parking and incorporating private parking lot use agreements. If you have a motion to introduce.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? This is for the park mobile use.
It's, I'll just give you guys a brief. The reason for this ordinance is just to recognize that maybe we're getting into the time frame where we're standardizing the practice of entering into private public parking lot usage agreements. So in order to avoid having to update the ordinance every time we come up with a new agreement, this is sort of an umbrella ordinance to cover any future agreements, including the ones that are on the agenda tonight. Ocean View has its own ordinance. Cape Island Baptist is sort of unique and has its own ordinance. So those will remain. They're not being deleted, but just if we come up with any future agreements, they would fall under this new umbrella ordinance, and it would just and those would still come before council, but it would avoid us having to go through a first and second reading every time we come up with basically the same agreement.
And it is turning out, we have, as you say, we have two more, properties in town that are looking to kind of join in and share some of their parking that are maybe underutilized or utilized, when they don't need it. So it's a great opportunity, and we appreciate our business community working with the city on this public-private partnership.
This is a really good thing. We're adding more parking spaces to public parking that weren't available previously. Obviously, that's bringing in new tax revenue and giving people more places to park. So it's a good thing.
And I'll just add on that after we received the award last year through the DCA for this program, about a half dozen other communities throughout the state of New Jersey reached out to me and asked, how did we do this?
Don't tell them.
So I didn't give them all the secrets, made them work for it a little bit, but it's really taken off, and other communities have recognized the work that we're doing as well.
That's great. All right, we have a first and second. Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
All right, moving on to public portions on resolutions only, Mayor.
Is anyone here wishing to speak on resolutions this evening? Any of the resolutions, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
My name's John Lynch, 714 Corgi Street. My wife and I own the house right behind the Southern Mansion. I was here last meeting, I guess that was. When I get organized here, I'll fill some voids. Being the recent recipient of the longest father of the bride speech, I'm going to read something here rather than try to get through it. I also have some handouts, which is going to help us go right through this very quickly. I think where we are, first of all, let me say, when we were last here, I was up here describing all the problems we had with this other mansion. We got this and all these issues going on, and the neighbors are concerned. And if you would ask me, why am I here representing the neighbors? It's a good question, but I am. Last Thursday, I came down, and I came back that evening late after getting phone calls from the neighbors on Tuesday and Wednesday that there's violations going on. And I came down, and sure enough, there were violations going on. And I went to bed. And then, if you don't mind passing these along. And then I woke up, I didn't wake up, I just got up and said, this is crazy. I'm being told.
Mr. Lynch, could you speak into the microphone, please? Thank you.
That better?
You can pick it up. Yeah,
Better.
absolutely. Thank
Okay.
you.
So we had an unsatisfactory Thursday night. I woke up on Friday morning after no sleep, basically, and said, this is crazy. It seemed to be betwixt and between a bunch of different views taking place, and I don't have a solution. So I text Barbara Wild around 7:15 that morning, before coffee. Maybe if I had coffee, I wouldn't have done it, but I did it. And within about 10 seconds, she was back saying yes. And the yes was to my question, do you want to get together? And do you want to talk through what's going on? And we did do that with Hamilton, her daughter, as well. And my wife and I met at their facility one Friday afternoon, had a great meeting. They were gracious, they were inviting. But more importantly, the ground rules were, why don't we work towards coming up with a cooperative way to work together? And we're not trying to cut the city out, but it was meant to be the neighbors in the Southern Mansion, because it just seemed like it was going off the rails in many different directions. And I think I know we had what I thought was I know we had a great conversation. We covered all the points, and we left that with the understanding that I would take a shot at drafting an agreement that would be called the cooperative agreement. Time was too short. I mean, drafts couldn't get circulated, so that didn't get done. Hence, I have to be here again to bring up the issues that we were discussing. I think where we really are, I don't think we have any disagreement on this cooperative effort going forward, how we're going to handle the issues. I think where we are this evening this afternoon is the applicant feels they don't need to provide for any other conditions, which I'm requesting of you. And I feel that it's the residents, the neighbors, not only are they entitled to them, they deserve them based upon the 2022 resolution. So let me walk you through that reasoning. If you would please turn to the resolution of 2022. Barbara and Hamilton, remember what happens here tonight. We're working in the cooperative effort, okay? Nothing's changing. I'm just trying to get conditions in to the record, and you're saying no. And that's fine. Go back to the 2022 resolution. At the bottom of the page, I 4 or 5 places on these pages I circled, I labeled them. A, at the bottom of page 1, it says, in light of the special proposed conditions, the application will be granted. The special proposed conditions are conditions, some of which were negotiated directly with the neighbors through the counsel of the applicant. You then go forward, next page, I circle in B. This resolution states the license subject to all its terms and conditions, is hereby transferred. The license we're referring to is the liquor license, where the neighbors came together. Instead of opposing it, we were trying to work cooperatively with them. Go down to C. This license, I mean the liquor license, is subject to all terms and conditions, is hereby transferred to the premises of 720 Washington Street. Okay. D, be it further resolved by the City of Cape May as the issuing authority that within the approval of the transfer is subject to special conditions, keep going, which are detailed in July 13th, 22 and July 28th supplements.
Excuse
What
me.
I'm- what this
Seeing
is
as the
telling you
mayor-
here-
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Seeing as the mayor has recused himself, Deputy Mayor, it has been 5 minutes. Thank you.
I missed that, what?
We usually try and maintain comments at a 5-minute mark.
I'm moving. I'm moving.
Okay.
So the resolution clearly states that the neighbors were involved. That's how the applicant came to us, saying, and we met at this other mansion, we met twice with neighbors saying, these are concerns, how can we address them? The conditions were approved. Turn to the work session meeting that I gave you. Page 3, top of 3, it deals with a letter that I wrote, which means I'm a party to this process, my wife and I. B is where the applicant's lawyer summarizes various proposed conditions as a result of meetings with the neighboring residents. Again, the neighbors were in the process of how this transfer of liquor license happened. C, again, the applicant's lawyer states, the following previous meeting, he has met with and discussed with neighboring residents regarding their concerns and has drafted an updated plan. And as a result, he agrees to introduce, as part of the liquor license, conditions. These are the special conditions. I didn't draft those conditions. Counsel for the applicant drafted those conditions. Go to the next page. D is self-explanatory, where I thank the applicant's lawyer for hosting these meetings. Top of the next page, there's E. Your city solicitor states, liquor licenses are renewed by the council annually. If issues arise, the conditions or permission for the license can be addressed at that time. So it was not a static approval. It was meant to be an annual renewal where issues would be addressed. That was the understanding of all the neighbors. That's what we spoke. We were all here listening to the record. And at the bottom, under F, it says Councilmember Meyer states permitting the applicant the liquor license gives council more authority to regulate and enforce the imposed conditions. Okay. And finally, at the bottom, we have Councilmember Yeager reminds the council they are only voting on whether to approve the liquor license transfer, and that if it passes, the city will have more control. So the liquor license transfer was tied into city having control. It was tied into the residents' concerns having been incorporated into the record. So the record speaks very clearly. The neighbors are here. I mean, if they choose to be ignored by a governing body, well, that's a choice. But the record speaks to the fact that the neighbors were involved. The applicant welcomed the neighbors into those conversations to get what they wanted. And I'm saying those conditions still exist. Now, next year, the year after, they didn't put any stipulation on this. These things are continuous. They're evergreen. So next year, if things aren't addressed, we'll be back again. It's by definition. So what's all this mean? When I read this, it shows that the neighbors' concerns were real, negotiations occurred, conditions were added because of those concerns, neighbors relied upon those conditions when supporting council's approval. The conditions were not incidental details, but were material inducements that helped secure neighbor support for the approval the applicant sought. Council relied upon the conditions, and the Cordier Street neighbors relied upon the conditions when the granting approval. The final resolution did not simply approve a transfer. It expressly states the transfer is subject to special conditions contained in the 13th and the 28th of July. They remain with their liquor license going forward. So, if the approval for the transfer anticipated changes, conditions to be amended over time as issues arose, what time are you proposing to do that, if not now at the renewal? Your city solicitor said at the time of renewal. That's what we thought was going to happen here. So
Mr. Lynch, let me just pause for a moment here. So our understanding the last time that you were here was that you and the neighbors were going to reach out to Ms. Wild to have a conversation.
We did.
Okay. And you mentioned at the beginning of your statement that that you've had what you consider a cooperative discussion,
correct,
and that a document was supposed to have been drafted.
correct.
Okay. I understand that, Mr. Dietrich, that you went out with code enforcement and a representative from the police department to assess the conditions that are currently tied based on these special conditions in the document from 2022. Can you give us a summary of what that review?
So we went out and met with Ms. Wild and Ms. Wild, inspected the property, reviewed the property based on the subject conditions. Obviously, by the time we did our inspection, some of the items that Mr. Lynch and the residents had noted that were, I'll say, not in compliance with some of the strict conditions had been corrected and modified, which that's typical, like when we have, and that's why we go out and do inspections. And if we find something, we ask the property, the business owner to make the corrections. And if the corrections were made, we note that, and that's a positive thing. So no enforcement action was taken. So some of the comments that were rectified, by the time we got there, was the no smoking signs were placed. There were no chairs out there to be placed. We inspected at night. The lighting was not lit up on the patio. I know that there's some confusion of, our lighting standard is just because you can see a light doesn't mean that's a violation of light. It's the light trespass as it leaves the property. It was inspected in the evening by both police and by code enforcement, and that there was no light trespass, I'll say, leaving the property. The lights that were under the condition were the lights that I'll say that illuminated the patio area for seating. And the intent of that condition was that people would not be congregating after dark in that seating area out on that patio. That's also why they had the no smoking signs there. They didn't want that reason where there was going to be people congregating there smoking after in evening hours. So both of those conditions are met. There is a line of string lights along the building, but that lighting provides, I'll say, basic minimum lighting around the building for security and safety for passage. Because this is a facility that provides accommodations, if there's emergency exits, both on the rear and the sides of the building, that if somebody is circulating around the building, they have to do so safely. So there needs to be some minimum basic lighting to provide security and safety for walking about the building. The lighting that is the condition is for congregating and for utilization, and that lighting was not on. So when we looked at and reviewed the site as it has the conditions, they are satisfactorily met. I do agree that, these conditions obviously were put into place in 2022. They've been in place every year since 2022. Obviously, a week before the prior meeting, the residents came and notified the city, hey, they're not meeting some of their conditions. We appreciated that notification and went out and made sure that they were corrected. That is not how I wanted that interaction to happen, because we shouldn't have to rely on, and the residents shouldn't have to rely on them finding the problems with the conditions and them coming to the city at the last ninth hour before we're looking at approval to try to rectify this. So I actually had a meeting with staff this week to look at, I'm tasking code enforcement and police department and the zoning officer to review all of the conditions of all of the liquor licenses, all 28 liquor licenses that we do, and they are going to make periodic and routine inspections of all facilities throughout the year, so that they have a document and an inspection so that they can identify these types of concerns that Mr. Lynch and, some of his fellow neighbors, can rely on that the city's going to be proactive in making sure that we're enforcing those regulations and not waiting for the residents to come in at this juncture, because this isn't when we want to kind of hash out these things, because, really up until now, the Southern Mansion had really no issues of non-compliance or
No.
no notices or calls for, hey, problems up until the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
All right. So, Mr. Gillen Schwartz, I note on the special conditions 12, 13, 14, and 15, those are sort of highlighted as the ones that the neighbors, I guess, requested to be included.
So there's no proposed change to the conditions.
Yeah.
These conditions were put in place by,
Right.
and through, as Mr. Lynch correctly points out, there was some pretty heavy discussions about these conditions. And there was 2 letters from the applicant's counsel sort of laying this out after all these discussions to help kind of marry this to the property. We haven't touched that since this was adopted.
Right, that's
Went to
my point.
Great
Right.
effort with the applicant and the
Right.
neighbors and council to kind of put this together. But since it was first authorized, we haven't touched it. So I guess my question maybe to Mr. Lynch is there an ask to council to change something here, or is there some discussion?
Yes.
That's my point, yes.
I apologize for taking so long. I was trying to show the history how we got here.
Yeah.
First of
okay.
all, I want to put the umbrella around here.
Just to be clear,
Cooperation.
Deputy Mayor, it has been
Yeah.
10
So
Okay.
total cooperation here. So I don't expect that you're going to be getting phone calls from the neighbors, because we're trying to stop that. And we're trying to direct it all to Barbara in Hamilton. And we have a central number, so don't expect to see a lot of noise from us. There are 3 conditions we're asking you to consider. 2 of which actually they're already doing a great job, even since last Friday. One was the kitchen exhaust fan runs 24/7. We met with them on Friday. I believe it's simply a matter of having the discipline to turn off the exhaust fan when the kitchen is not in use as allowed for. And they've done it, because already neighbors are saying it's much better.
Okay,
So it's a condition they already met. I'm just asking it to be included as part of the condition.
okay,
Second is directing deliveries away from Corgi Street.
right.
Again, I learned when I was there last Friday, that's already their policy, except things don't always go.
Well, delivery
Correct.
driver's going to go where they
And
find
we,
to be the
so we
easiest.
accepted that, but on all sides last Friday, we said, yeah, that's right. But then they made an ask of me, which I thought was educational. They said, neighbors call up and they, I don't know who they are. They scream and they yell and they hang up the phone. They don't tell us who they are. They don't tell us what the truck was. There's no identification. So that leaves the Southern Mansion
Can't react to that.
and react.
Right.
So they have asked me to go back to the neighbors, which I'm going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and say, listen, here's a central number to call. But when you call, please leave a number if it's after hours and give them a description of the truck, whether it's a name of a truck or something. And with that information, they can then go back so that over time, a new driver comes in, those types of mistakes will
remedied.
lessen.
Okay, all right.
So again,
think we
and
understand.
the last one, which is Hannah Scott, which is probably the most important one. And I explained this to Barbara in Hamilton last week, because this one's in everyone's face every day. And it's the hedgerow.
Can I ask a quick question before you
Please.
continue? McKenna Site Management, who is that in relation to the property or in relation to you?
The relation to the property, nothing more. They came down as a favor to me to do an inspection. Why? I planted probably caused or actually planted in excess of 5,000 trees and shrubs in my career. I'm a tree nut. I mean, I donated trees for the Shade Tree Mission. I put 30 crepe myrtles in at the post office. I'm a nut when it comes to this stuff. But I don't pretend I have the expertise to give you, I don't pretend I could come here and say, this is the condition of the hedgerow. So these people are contractors I've used in the past, and they say, can you come down and just give an assessment? I'm not saying you should accept this to be an expert.
And that's why I asked, because there are recommendations in here that I wanted to find out the qualifications, who they were. They're a site management company that you hired to just?
Didn't hire. They just came down.
Okay,
as a
so they
courtesy.
visually inspected it and made their recommendations.
But the important thing to know without going through this, the city manager came out and said things look good and maintained. He didn't go there, but he's not far off. He came out and he said, you know, this hedgerow is a hardy plant. It's been around a long time. There's evidence that it used to be a double hedgerow, which was common in your ordinance, a double row of hedges being planted on 30-inch centers. And some of them have disappeared without being replaced. If you look at his recommendations below the line, really what this hedgerow needs is some TLC. That's what it comes down to. It needs some mulch to go down in the early season to help control moisture. It needs fertilizer to go in. It needs some rejuvenative planting. So I'm asking you to look at these suggestions and either adopt them or adjust them, however you see fit, or have the Southern Mansion hire their own person. I don't care.
I have another question. Another question for you. Have you shared this document with the Southern
I
Mansion?
gave it to him this morning, this afternoon, yes.
Okay.
So I think, Mr. Lynch, it's reasonable for us to consider deliveries going on Corgi and the fact that the exhaust fan, would be, a concern or condition potentially, and I'll look to the city solicitor for that. When it comes to property maintenance, I think we're sort of bleeding into an area that's not really, I think, the recommendation. I think trying to work with Ms. Hamilton and her team would be appropriate, but to make it a condition of a liquor license, in my opinion only, is a bit of a stretch for this council to take on and include it in this. I appreciate the fact that you've got something that's documented, and I think it's, something to discuss and have some conversations about, but I think it's a little challenging for us to look at this and say that mulch has to go down and a balanced feeding program and all of those kinds of things.
So I'll add to that.
Thank
that
you, Mr. Gillingsworth.
So
Thank you.
the hedge maintenance is already something that's built into as
Mr. Gillenschwartz.
the hedge. One more time with feeling. The hedge is part of, it's already incorporated as one of the conditions and there was already a discussion item, but I do see the deputy mayor's point about we're sort of veering into botany and,
Agriculture.
getting away from liquor, which is really what this stuff is geared towards. There's certainly a purpose for it being included and a rational basis for it being included. But I think what the city manager was indicating is that I think code enforcement may have a way of speaking to the property owner, speaking to the neighbors about that, but that's more of a fluid condition in here than maybe turning off the exhaust fan in relation to the operations or routing deliveries
right.
away from Corgi Street. To the extent that's not in here, I'd like for council to hear from the applicant.
Yeah, I was
Certainly
going
they'll
to say.
they'll have an opportunity to speak as well. Just some of this may not even be in dispute, and if we can narrow that down, that might be helpful too.
Okay, thank you,
And-
Mr.
And
Gillingsworth.
I just would follow up. My recommendation is, those three items, they're more site plan issues that are not really directly related to the ABC license as far as its operation.
Understood.
And
We're
we,
trying to-
our code enforcement and zoning officer are fully equipped to be able to handle those questions on that routine basis as part of the enforcement of a site plan, just like every other commercial site plan in the city, not having a ABC license.
I'd like to give Ms. Wild an opportunity for
Can I finish real quick?
I'd like to make a comment before we go off this topic. I think the hedgerow is relative to the ABC license because it is a form of a barrier that keeps the patrons from, leaving the property with alcohol. I think one of the comments that Mr. Lynch had was that the guests were going right through the hedge at the last meeting.
Well, but the condition of the hedgerow, which was the hedge abutting Corgi shall be maintained and replaced within a reasonable time if it dies. It was dealt with already. The issue is nothing's been done for 4 years. And if you look at the photographs of the existing conditions today, you can see there's dead branches, there's debris, there's trash cans against it. None of which do I think are a big deal. None of this I think is a big deal. And I've encouraged Mr. Dietrich, let us work this out.
But in the interim, we do have on the table for tonight,
It's
the
2
application.
things.
No, the application
Right.
is on for our agenda for this evening. So I think we would like to have 5 minutes from Ms. Wild to talk about what has been brought up here, and what you're representing that you would be willing to compromise on, and so that we could move forward on this. Thank
I
you.
don't have another question. I am prepared to offer to pay 50% of the cost of the plans that are being recommended. I
Okay.
mean, I've done enough other landscaping around here. Happy to do it if that's an issue.
Okay, well, let's give them an opportunity to respond. Thank you.
Thank you. Hamilton Wild, on behalf of the New Jersey Farmers Cooperative Group, LLC, which owns the liquor license cited at 720 Washington Street, better known as the Southern Mansion. Yes, so I actually learned of the challenge to the renewal on June 5th when I met with Mr. Dietrich, the code enforcement officer and the ABC liaison for the city. So that was the first time that I even found out that there had been a challenge to the license. I didn't realize that was the situation. I was aware going into the meeting that concerns had been brought up to code enforcement. So that's what I went into it with the expectation of. We walked the property, all four of us. We did go to the back of the property. We tried to listen for whatever the exhaust sounds could be. As far as I'm aware, none of us were able to identify a noise. We looked at the hedges, we looked at the back patio section, and we looked at all of the lighting. Code enforcement also informed me at that time that they had previously come out in the evenings to investigate the lighting. At the end of that meeting, I was informed that everything they reviewed appeared to be in full compliance with the conditions on the liquor license. With that being said, following the meeting, we wanted to make sure that we were doing everything on our end that we could to maintain compliance. So, and I only have 2 copies of these with me. I was told that it would be sufficient just to have copies provided to the solicitor and clerk. But what I do have here are 3 memos. And 2 of these memos are from the management of the Southern Mansion. One of them is to all employees, just reminding them that the Southern Mansion is a 100% smoke-free property and workplace. We do not allow any smoking on site now. And essentially just instructing staff on what they should do in regards to smoking, if they are nicotine dependent, providing non-smoking alternatives, and also making it clear that they cannot smoke anytime during work hours. The reason that was specified is because concerns from the neighbors were that in full compliance with the liquor license, they weren't necessarily smoking on the patio, but they were going into the public street to smoke, which is perfectly legal. Either way, our manner of addressing that, or I should say the Southern Mansion's manner of addressing that, is if you're scheduled to work, you cannot work or smoke during your shift. Then there is also a memo that I issued to my employees, those who handled any alcohol, which essentially reiterated, this is the policy of our landlord, the Southern Mansion. This is what's expected of their employees. We must remain in compliance with that, so the same is expected of you. Then the second memo from Southern Mansion was issued to its kitchen employees, and this was based on the assumption that the ventilation noise was coming from the kitchen hood. This was something that I thought, once the issue was brought to me by Mr. Dietrich, I thought maybe that's a possibility because there's a manual switch in that kitchen that operates the hood fan. With that being said, this memo was issued to employees on June 8th. We met with Mr. Lynch this immediate past Friday, so I believe that was the 12th. At that time, he said that to the best of his knowledge, there were still ongoing complaints about that kitchen hood. That afternoon, after meeting with him, I went out to Southern Mansion again. I walked the property, this time by myself, again, trying to hear any strange noises. My mother, Ms. Wild, she reached out to Mr. Lynch at that time, said I was there in case he wanted to come over and try to identify the sound to me. He was busy at that time. Again, I didn't hear any sounds that evening. However, the next morning, I did get a text from Mr. Lynch saying that whatever I did had completely resolved the noise.
Okay.
So at this point, we still don't know what caused the noise, but we do know it was not the kitchen exhaust fan because it was off during the entire previous week when supposedly there were still ongoing complaints. And suddenly it was no longer a noise issue. So I'll leave that as it is. With that being said, we've been found to be in compliance with the conditions on the license. We intend to remain in compliance with those conditions. We're not particularly open to adding any additional conditions because we feel that we've sufficiently addressed them, and the best way to continue to address them is open communication with our neighbors. And aside from that fact, it is important to remember that some of these conditions, again, are unrelated to the liquor license. Some of them are more so attempts to control the non-liquor related business operations of my landlord, the Southern Mansion. And that's essentially where we are on that. So we are in compliance. I'm happy to answer any questions. So I'll leave it to you.
I have a question. So you were given this.
I received that right after we did the Pledge of Allegiance this afternoon.
Okay. Are there any responses based on this document?
My initial responses are that we're in a severe drought and we just came off of pretty serious winter storms. So I think making plans to ameliorate some of those things this instant are nearly impossible especially because we're also in an El Nino season. So I think that hedge is probably going to look pretty rough all summer unless the sidewalks ripped up. Huge amounts of irrigation are installed at a significant cost to my landlord. And even then, that's not a guarantee with our current conditions. If we go into the fall, yes, we want the property to look good. It's in the best interest of the business, but I don't necessarily think that the exact manner in which that's administered is something that should necessarily be dictated by the government, so long as we are in compliance with existing zoning and code enforcement restrictions.
Mr. Gillenshorst, anything to add to that with
Just,
regard to?
We have a follow-up question for Ms. Wild. It sounds like you had sent a memo out to the employees about the exhaust fan. It seemed like, these are my words, not yours or anybody else's, but it seems like sort of a minor adjustment, tweak to operations, communication. That being the case, would the applicant have any objection if council simply added a condition saying that the kitchen exhaust fan will be turned off after food service?
In theory, no. However, based on what I've actually seen, it appears that the kitchen exhaust fan actually was unrelated to the noise because the sounds were off, the fan was off for an entire week straight, and neighbors were still reporting that the sound was ongoing. However, after the neighbors found out that I personally walked the property, suddenly it disappeared when the conditions internally and the actions performed by the employees were the same. So in my opinion, I don't think the exhaust fan at this property was the cause of this noise, and I don't think anything at the property was the cause of this noise, which at this point I still have not heard.
Mr. Gillenshorst, if I could ask you a question. Is there our city code, is there something, what would be in the city code that would address that specific issue as far as a violation regarding?
We have a noise.
Is there something that
We
would
do.
that would address that?
Absent a special condition, we have a noise ordinance, we have a intrusive lighting ordinance. We do have general provisions to fall back on here. If not, I was simply trying to point out maybe areas where there isn't really much dispute, and I understand. Look, frankly, I understand there's some frustration here on both sides, and I think the city sees that. I see that. I'm trying to eliminate maybe some of the smaller type areas that just aren't in dispute, and something like turning off an exhaust fan arguably is related to service at the location, and it's something verifiable that if you can just turn it off, it's kind of easy to verify that it's not the cause of some other noise or something like that.
I'm also mentioning it because it gives an opportunity for the residents that live in the area when this is on to make a telephone call, to contact code enforcement to address that, so they can
or
get
contact the
relief,
main number
or
that
to
you've
contact directly to the
Southern
Southern Mansion
Mansion,
to
yeah.
just say, hey, just as a reminder, it needs to be off. I know that there's different ways to go about this that have been suggested, but one that may be, sure, you may be in compliance with the hedge, but it sounds like
Or
there's-
maybe
there-
the neighbors need to record the noise so that they can show verification. I mean, it seems that there's a disconnect between what Ms. Wild is experiencing and what you guys are. Not to say that you're not both right. It just is the circumstances of the moment. So, I mean, I would strongly suggest that, so that there's verification of what the noise is and perhaps being able to have it, localized.
Can I say,
Sure.
can I say I've had a lot of experience closing kitchens, and it's very customary that that's the last thing you do before you walk out the kitchen. You leave the grill on, the cooking appliances on, you clean it up, you clean the grill, you have to let everything cool off, And usually when you're going out, checking everything's, buttoned up. Second to last thing you do is turn off the hood, and all of a sudden it's quiet in the kitchen, which is a nice feeling. And then you turn off the lights and you head on out. I have never worked in a kitchen that's not the case. I don't think any business owner would like to have, speaking of conserving electricity, appliances running that don't need to be. So, and I think you've solved the problem with that memo, in my personal opinion.
And I guess my recommendation is we approve this tonight with the conditions as stated. I think the city is going to take a more proactive stance of inspecting all of our liquor license facilities, considering we had no complaints from 2022 to 3 weeks ago. I think that's a long track period of, hey, those conditions seem to have worked and didn't really have any violations. That let the process work. And then if we continue to have issues before the renewal of next year, code enforcement, police department, my office, we can make recommendations of enhancing or revising those special conditions at the renewal for next year.
So I would ask in the interim, Mr. Lynch, Ms. Wild, on the hedge issue, work together. You've heard that, that she's concerned that doing anything right now, and legitimate points. We are in a drought, tearing anything out, irrigation, that's all brick sidewalk back there. I would ask that you could work together on that issue. Revisit that in the fall, not make it a more stringent condition of this liquor license. It is in there, it's supposed to be maintained. I think there's acknowledgement on the part of the applicant that, they recognize that it needs some work, but I think that she's given some justification for why it is in the current condition. I think all of us could look at our property and say, we could do something to improve it, but sometimes, the weather just is not cooperating. You've made a very generous offer in, wanting to work with them on, giving plantings or anything else. I applaud you for that. I would like to ask if you're willing to allow us to move forward. Mr. Gillen Schwartz, are there any other things that we would need to add for the conditions, or you feel that these are sufficient?
Well, I just to be clear, I mean, I was kind of going back and forth with them on the conditions that they discussed, but there is a view that council could proceed with as is, and with the understanding that the parties are going to continue to talk, and code enforcement will keep an eye on any code enforcement violations, and
Okay.
as they would any other
Counsel,
case.
are
Yeah,
we?
I-
Take
Okay.
on it is, it sounds like there's a very positive dialogue going on between all the
Councilmember Bodnar.
three.
Steve.
A positive dialogue is going on among all the parties that are on the street. And now you're aware of some of these issues that are of great concern to the folks on Corgi Street. Urge you to take those into consideration. I'm sure you will, because you want to be good neighbors. Mr. Lynch, I commend you for having a civil conversation with these folks and representing, the people on Corgi and presenting those issues. So to me, I think there's an opportunity to continue to work on that. I would suggest that we move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Baldwin, are
Sure.
you okay with us moving forward?
Just a couple things, because I was looking at this document that was here, and as well as the pictures, and I live within 2 blocks of the mansion. And walking that back area of Corgi, I walked it right after our last meeting. I saw things were being cleaned up, and things were being taken care of, which I commend you on. Thank you. But I also, with walking back there, the hedgerow could be, there's a lot of dead debris in there. I think that needs to be cleaned up to encourage new growth that's in there, because we all know that when something's dead, it's, not going to really be encouraged to, I think that might be kind of where the neighbors are going. Let's clean that up a little bit more, get a landscaper in there too. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lynch, I think that was a lot of what you were saying in here. And I understand Ms. Wild's concern with the drought and everything else. Sure.
No, you're correct, but I think the type of concerns go more to also just maintenance, like
Yeah.
we're in a drought. What would help control moisture loss in a drought? Mulch.
I saw that in there as well.
Those types of things, just basic. I don't see, other than the commitment of 30 new plants, which don't have to be big. They can be small 3-gallon plants, because there'd be recent cuttings, they will grow. And it would take time, and that's okay. I see this is not much, except in the original 2022 condition, when I was working with the applicant's counsel, it defines a hedge, and the concept of a hedge was per city ordinances. It has to go back to something. It's not just a hedge out of nowhere. It's a hedge going back to city ordinances. And a hedge for this location between a non-conforming use and a residential is not what's there. So when they maintain it, they have to maintain it to a certain standard, which is the city standards. And I don't care if it gets there, but you have to do more.
Yeah,
than what's going on.
well,
So what I'm hearing is they're in compliance right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's going to be efforts made. You're aware. I
Maintenance
take it
issues.
you're going to move forward with this and work on this as a solution. It sounds like something that can be done among all parties here.
Absolutely. And for example, with that cleanup after my meeting with Mr. Lynch this past Friday, when I was over there at Southern Mansion, one of the questions that I asked him was, when I mentioned in my meeting with Mr. Dietrich that there was some question about something to do with the space in between where the sidewalk ends and where the curve begins. And I was trying to understand what that complaint was. And finally, after we discussed it for a while, Mr. Lynch told me, oh, there's a few pieces of concrete that broke off and rolled down. So, and that was the source of a lot of contention for the neighbors. So on Friday, I walked up and down and I picked up about 5 pieces of broken concrete between this size and this size, and I removed that. I can also tell you, and this goes to your point, Councilmember Baldwin, that there already is a contract in place with a landscaping company. True Green comes out, they service the lawn, they service the hedges. We also are bringing out some additional landscape workers that aren't part of that company to do more of that cleanup back there. So that already is scheduled and will happen within the next week.
Okay. I think that we, at this point in time, I think we're going to move on with this. I think that, we feel that the conditions, you've worked together, continue to do so, dialogue. Please encourage the neighbors to respectfully reach out to the property owners and leave messages when they have issues or complaints. And, it sounds like efforts are being made on the part of the property owner. One last comment, please, Mr. Lynch. Thank you.
Point of procedure, because I've heard it many times tonight. The fact that the neighbors have not been calling since 2022 doesn't reflect that we were happy or we thought things were going well. So now we're embarking upon a new program where we're saying we're going to be working cooperatively and not calling codes and not calling the police. We don't want to bother you. We're going to work it out ourselves.
Well, please
I
do,
don't-
but know that that is there should those
Okay,
conversations,
but
yeah.
these, next year, if we were here, God forbid,
Mhm.
please don't look at the record and say, well, we haven't had any calls this year and things must have been good. It's not. It's because we were working collaboratively all year.
And my point also is that at some point, you don't feel that you're getting the responses that you should be getting from the Southern Mansion management. Please reach out to the city, because again, you are right. Next year, we will come to the table and we will expect that we hadn't heard anything. So I encourage you, work collaboratively, good neighbors with the Southern Mansion. But if you feel that you're not seeing things or things are not staying on course, please, I encourage you to reach out. That is the only way that we have a record of what's occurring.
Okay?
Okay, so,
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
your time.
Everyone okay?
Council, just because the mayor's already stepped down, do you want to take that resolution
we
right
do.
now and just?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor, do you mind if I make that motion to approve that?
No, I do not.
Excuse me.
Erin, what motion
Yes,
is
so
that?
just to be
I mean,
clear,
what-
we're looking at resolution 252-06, 2026, resolution approving alcoholic beverage license renewals for the 2026-2027
Thank you,
license
Mr.
year.
Lynch.
I'll make the motion for that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Yes.
Mayor is recused. Okay.
We're back to the agenda.
I guess I believe we are still in the public portion for resolutions,
Oh,
should anybody else have a comment.
And please keep them to 5 minutes if you. And you're back.
Good job. Just for the record, I wasn't sure how detailed that was going to get. So once it was getting more detailed, I wanted to recuse myself. I'm within 200 feet of the property.
1 minute.
Good
Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue.
Good evening, Jules.
Resolution, see, 248/06/26. Paul, will the city be in a position to give some kind of a breakdown time-wise on when things might happen? Will it be done in phases? Are we going to tear out all of the shrubbery first? Then how are we going to do the seawall? It would be nice if there be
So-
some kind of a,
So that won't happen until we have a contractor in place. It will be done in one singular phase. It's contemplated in the specifications right now that they will start on the Wilmington Avenue end and work their way westerly towards Madison Avenue. But beyond that, we won't know those kinds of details until we have a contractor selected and on board to know how he wants to approach it.
thank you. That's really what I would like. And just as a comment, I think the concrete wall along Beach Avenue, as it's being finished now, looks very, very nice. And I think the colors, the way they've been blended together with the work that's being done is a credit to not only the contractor, but it's going to be very attractive for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Jules. Anyone else on resolutions this evening? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to the consent agenda.
Council, is there anything you'd like to remove from the consent agenda this evening?
Anything, council?
Resolution 249.
Okay.
Anything else, council?
251, please.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Okay, roll call, please.
Oh, we have a motion to accept the
I'm
consent
sorry,
agenda?
do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
All right. So back to 249/06, 2026, resolution authorizing sale of personal property no longer needed for the city purposes to nonprofit organizations.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments?
Yes, I just wanted to comment briefly. If you recall, back in April, Councilman Bodnar and I agreed to undertake trying to find, rehome the pieces that were in storage from the AME Church, sitting over in one of the sheds, the large sheds over in DPW. And we're very pleased this evening that we've been able to put about 18 pieces, almost every single piece that was in storage, back into the community, either in Cape May or back in the Cape May County community. These pieces are going back to, will be used in the Eastland Theater in the AME Church. One of the pews will be going out to the Cape May Science Center and will be a plaque placed there, giving the provenance of that. And then the final pieces are going to the Whitesboro Historic Preservation Project. So a lot of time and energy. I think Steve and I felt at times we were not going to succeed, but it was a very good effort, and really pleased that we were able to do that, and that these pieces will be maintained. I know that he wants to make a few comments. I just want to note that the altar rail will be maintained in the DPW storage area until such time that there's an expansion of the AME church, and then we will look to repurpose that. And I've already had that conversation with their executive director, and he's actually very excited to take a look at that piece and see what they could do.
So all three organizations that are taking these pieces, the Science Center, the Eastland Theater, the Whitesboro Historic Preservation Project, I mean, local organizations, all recognize the significance of these items and were genuinely excited to receive them and to showcase them. I just want to mention that I had a lengthy conversation with Mrs. Shirley Green from the Whitesboro Historic Preservation Project, and it was just a very moving conversation focusing on community and the AME Church. And it was just apparent in the discussion with her, just broaching the topic of them receiving these items, just how meaningful it was to be able to receive, in this instance, the church pews and some very ornate chairs that had been in the church. So, we get an opportunity to do a lot of really meaningful things here on City Council, but it's great when you get to do something that just kind of like hits you, hits you in that certain way. And I also want to thank Jody Alessandrine from MAC. He connected the city with the Whitesboro Historic Preservation Project. So I want to extend my public thanks to him for that.
Thank you, Jody.
It's so nice. I'm actually glad you brought this up too, because I did not know that the pews were going to the Cape May Point Arts and Science Center, and that is why I will be abstaining on this.
Okay.
I am
Just
on the
one of
board. So thank you.
All right.
We have a motion.
We have a motion and a second if council's ready for roll call.
Roll call.
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
I abstain, but great job on that.
Thank you.
All right, on to 251-06-2026, resolution authorizing a maintenance and reimbursement agreement with Sturdy Savings Bank to maintain gas lamps adjacent to property known as 701 Washington Street.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Councilmember Meyer,
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
Thank you. I just real quick to comment on that. I just want to thank Sturdy Bank. The gas lamps out in front of the bank, have been on their property on and off at different stages, just because they didn't have anybody really to maintain them and know where to go. And finally, through our public works department in Justin, we reached out to the bank and said, "Hey, we do this. Maybe we can do a shared service and maintain them for you." So it took a little while, but I think it's going to be a good thing that the lamps will be lit more consistently now, and I think it'll look better in that area for that.
And we're going to recoup 100% of the costs on it. So it's just a good partnership.
That's great. Okay, on to,
We have a few.
we voted on the regular agenda, right?
We have a few items on the regular agenda to adjust
Okay,
now.
thank
We're
you.
through the consent. So we have, speaking of abstentions, 235-06-2026, a resolution authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage license 0502-36016004 to be considered by the Director of Alcoholic Beverage Control pursuant to the conflict license provisions for the 2026-2027 license year. This is for the King Edward Corp. license that was tabled from last meeting. You'll notice that there was some new wording added to the special conditions for council's consideration this evening. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, council?
Just a clarification, this was seen by our conflict counsel.
Yes,
and
this
I
was reviewed.
clarified that. And I just wanted to,
Mr. Baldini did review this as conflict counsel, and we have an email on file that he's reviewed it and he's okay with these conditions
Yep.
as we add them in for the purpose of why we added them.
I just wanted to let the public know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All set? Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Abstain.
Thank you. We have 26106, 2026, resolution of award for bid 26-09, fiscal year 2026 New Jersey Water Bank for the various sanitary sewer and water main improvements projects.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
City manager?
I'll just add some comments. So we obviously received bids for this project today, and I appreciate you considering this today. Otherwise, we're going to have a special meeting before the end of the month, because this is another project where we're receiving $3 million worth of principal forgiveness. Obviously, the bid prices is less. So the non-participating amount of the bid items is just over $402,000 and some change. So there will be about $2.2 million worth of reimbursed principal forgiveness, and then there'll be a city portion of $400,000 and change that we'll be responsible for. This is similar to the project that we did last year. If you recall, we were right up against the deadline and had to have a special meeting to award the contract. So I apologize for that. And I'd also want to note, just for record, the streets that are part of this. There's a section of Howard Street, and this couples with the same block that we received an NJDOT grant on Howard Street. So we're kind of maximizing some of our grant fundings for reconstruction on that street. Then we're doing Virginia Avenue, Pittsburgh to Philadelphia, Reading Avenue from Virginia to Ohio Avenue, and then Harbor Lane, Texas Avenue to the end. That's kind of going to clean up a little bit on Harborview Park area, and kind of next year get a little paving work and utility work done to kind of really clean that area up. So that's the project and scope that we'll most likely be looking to have constructed in the fall, winter 2026, 2027.
Great. Perfect. Any questions or comments?
No?
And the map for those locations are on the website. So if anybody's interested in where that
Great.
project is, it is on the website.
Thank you. Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock,
Yes.
and 26206, 2026, resolution authorizing grant application and execution of a grant agreement with the State of New Jersey DEP for SRF Technical Assistance and Design Grant for lead service line replacement project.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments, council? Roll call?
Councilmember Meyer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McDade,
Yes.
Councilmember Bodnar,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Yes.
Mayor Mullock.
Yes.
Thank you.
On to new business, council.
New business? Any new business, city solicitor?
Not tonight. Thank you.
City manager?
Nothing. Thank you.
City clerk?
Just a few maintenance announcements. All city offices will be closed on Friday for the Juneteenth holiday. The Harborview Park ribbon cutting is scheduled for July 2nd at 11 a.m. City offices will be closed again on Friday, July 3rd for the Independence Day holiday, and the Independence Day parade is July 4th at 1 p.m. on the beachfront. That's it, Mayor.
Good. I can't believe we're already on to July 4th. Holy moly. Okay. Councilwoman Baldwin?
Just one quick thing. The HPC met last night, and there was discussion and research that was completed on, and Mayor Mullock, I know that you're familiar with this, research on the initial National Historic designation as a landmark city back in 1976. There was apparently a plaque that was made. It was a temporary plaque, and nobody can seem to locate the actual plaque, and they feel that it was never delivered or never, but whatever. So what we were looking at doing is recreating that. Go ahead.
Not to interrupt. Wasn't it on the wall? And okay, so tell me I'm wrong here, because I thought it was on the wall of the escalator mall building.
Yes, there is something that identifies that there,
Okay.
but
But
not this one.
Okay.
Yeah, it is
So the
interesting.
mystery continues.
It does. It does.
Okay.
So it's been recreated, designed, and what we're looking at doing at this point is just, contacting Franklin Bronze to get an estimate, get a price. I mean, we're looking at a 50-year this year, and maybe it might be a good idea if we
That's great.
if we place that somewhere. But the council will be informed once we get a price and see where we go. But everybody on HPC was kind of excited. I see Kevin out there, but yeah, we were just to get something up and in a prominent location, possibly the mall.
That's great.
So okay, that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Great. Councilman Bodnar?
Two things. First, the city manager mentioned about the police department getting their accreditation. So I want to congratulate Chief as well as the department for achieving that. I was working with the law enforcement agency that went through that process, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, it's a lot of work and a difficult level to achieve. And not every law enforcement agency, does meet those standards. So congratulations to the chief, his staff, including those that are now retired that participated in getting that accomplishment. Also want to mention that the lights in Convention Hall, the new lights that were installed, look fantastic. I stopped in Convention Hall. Brittany from Tourism and Civic Affairs gave me a tour, showed me the lights. It's going to be great for the shows and for all the, anybody who's coming into Convention Hall and with the new lighting. So it's a real nice addition, real nice upgrade for Convention Hall.
On a side note of that, so we've also, on a separate project, but we also kind of finished and completing, we upgraded the audio-visual upgrades and cameras and stuff, and we actually tested it during the Coastal Coalition meeting in that we did the presentation with Zoom and did a lot of interaction with the camera and stuff like that. So we can do, I think we now have the capabilities to do real full multimedia interaction, or if, say, council ever had to have a meeting there where we had a larger audience, we could probably hold a meeting there and still live stream it and have interaction with the public. So it's just another thing that we have completed there to upgrade those facilities to kind of bring them up to modern standards.
And that whole system will be put to the test at the end of the month for the Mac McAnally concert, right?
That's it.
2 weeks from Sunday or week, what day? I don't know the date. Yeah, Sunday.
Yep.
So see everybody there.
That's great. Deputy Mayor?
Nothing this evening.
Councilman Meyer?
I don't have anything as well.
I just echo the compliments to the city manager and the police department, all the hard work that they've done and getting that accreditation. Great work. With that, we'll open it up to the public comment. Anyone else wishing to speak on any and all matters, please feel free to come to the microphone. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, Jules Rouse, 1010 New York Avenue. There was an article in the paper that was referring to the jitney servicing into West Cape May. Is that something that is happening or is planned to happen?
It is happening. I think I announced it almost a month ago before the season started. So yeah, we've had the request from West Cape May. We looked at it. We're doing a trial period this year. We have a tentative MOA with them that if it kind of works out, I'll circle back with council and we'll get a formal shared service agreement to kind of extend that service. But yeah, we've extended it. There's 2 stops in West Cape May to extend the service. I know the residents over there have already started using it, and I'll say it's been an assistance because it lessens the parking load in the city where, you now have people from West Cape May being able to take the shuttle into Cape May without having to bring their car in and find a parking spot.
I like the idea of a shared service agreement so that the Cape May city taxpayers do not have to bear the entire cost going into West Cape May. We both share in some form of distribution of cost. That would be a good idea. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Jules, and I agree with it. I think one of the aspects is the parking, right?
Yes. Yeah. So you can park for free at the West Cape May Borough Hall and catch a shuttle and come in. So it's not only just for the residents, but it's a way to park, kind of like how we always encourage people to park at the elementary school, during the summer when school's out. It's just another spot to kind of park for free and be able to move around the city without, having to either pay for parking or search for parking.
That was my comment when we talked about it. I said, please, they have to
And
make
there's-
that Borough Hall
Yep.
parking available.
And there's a sign out
Yeah.
in front that says, free parking, jitney stop. So it's advertised
I think
such that.
anytime there's a cooperative effort with municipalities is good for all of them, all of us. Most of us don't make a distinction, frankly, between where is Cape May and where West Cape May begin and end. So it is a blend, and I congratulate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Seeing none, just a reminder that we have our special guest from Atlantic City Electric still here. If anyone would like to still. Thank you, Ronnie.
And
With that, do
Council,
I have a motion to adjourn?
Just as a reminder, we do have a closed session
Okay.
that we're coming into.
We still close.
We will adjourn into the closed session and we will come back here and close out the meeting
Okay.
after the closed session.
All right, so we're going to go into closed session. The time is 4:45.
Jitney app. I can't. Yeah, I can't.
Guys, starting to look like the top brass.
I didn't look at that closely, but because I at the end of the meeting, I'd like to take a look at that and see if it's broken out there. So no, we haven't gotten a separate account. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's ask him for that. Is this your stuff?
Your kid's excited to be done school.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So there's
something.
there needs to be some sort of accounting on that and agreement that it's done. So we're not going to do anything. It's, yeah. It was all redone a few years ago. Yeah.
We have 3 people here, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Is it? We're not taking any action, right?
No.
No.
Okay, we're making the.
Let's go. Making a
Let's go.
motion
We're making a motion. Okay.
We're just coming back from closed session. The time is now 5:30. We are not taking any actions. Therefore, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All right, the time is now 5:30.